is for people during a depression to take things into their own hands. And I think there's a possibility of that as well. But we really don't want to see that happen. And we would like to find a way to work through the system.
I hear you. You got any more questions, Chris?
Well, continuing on with that, suppose we elected everybody and put them in office, including the president that we wanted. The powers that be, are they not still going to be there?
Yeah, they are, and they're not going to let you do that.
Okay.
They've already proven it to us. You don't stand a chance at the national level. It's out of everybody's hands. I mean, the control by the elitists behind the scenes is just the stranglehold is you can't break out of it, short of revolution. And
well, what if 35 or more states were to succeed? Succession.
Well, I think that's a distinct possibility.
Okay. And
then there would be fractionalization, and the federal government would not be able to control the country.
I hear you. Okay, Chris.
Being that.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Go ahead, Bob. I didn't mean to cut you out. And while you're at it, mention a little bit about your newsletter and stuff.
Okay. Well, the forecast is about business, finance, economics, and social and political issues all over the world. We publish on Wednesday and Saturday by email, and we 35 pages each time, and we have a hard copy that goes out to people who are not on the Internet twice a month. And if you'd like a free introductory copy, there's 3 ways you can do that. You can go to our site, theinternationalforecaster.com, theinternationalforecaster.com, or you can email us at bob@intforecaster.com. That's bob@intforecaster.com, or you can call toll-free 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188.
Well, I tell you what, folks. You ought to get that newsletter. Bob sends it to me as a courtesy each week, and I guarantee you that thing is packed full of stuff like you wouldn't believe. And I can guarantee you, it's what's got Ed off his rear and got him into this gold and silver. All right, Ralph, you're on the air with Ed and Bob. What's your question for Mr. Bob?
Well, it's a good newsletter, by the way. I've gotten a few myself and very impressed with it, Bob. Nice job. Ed, it's good to hear your voice again.
Well, thank you, sir.
Bob, I had 3 questions for you, and I'll start with the simple one first. With gold right now hovering between $900 and $1,000, one of the things that's disturbed me about acquiring a whole lot of gold is assuming that we collapse completely. Then you know that the Federal Reserve and the elites are going to have the solution to the problem, which will probably be a new fiat currency. What's to stop them from repeating the process that they did in, 1932, where they basically called all the gold in under threat of 10 years imprisonment? And if they do, what would they give you in terms of the value of it? Because my sense is that whatever they'd offer would be nothing compared to its intrinsic value today, even with our inflated dollars. So that makes me ask, is it a good strategy to actually hold the metal for that period of time? And if not, what would be the effect on the gold funds in that similar situation?
Well, first of all, you have to think about the alternative, and there is none. And historically, gold has performed in inflation and deflation. It's
Understood.
been the ultimate currency. Now, as far as confiscation is concerned, during the 20s and 30s, lots of people, many Americans, walked around with gold coins, and they used them in commerce.
Right.
That's not the case today. Less than 5% of Americans own gold and silver coins to any extent. And that figure is probably less than 3%. So it's not worth their while to do that. So I think if government's going to confiscate gold, they're going to go to the gold ETF, the Exchange Traded Fund, called GLD, which trades in the New York Stock Exchange, that has 1,038 tons of gold, which is only 2 tons less than what Switzerland has, which is number 8 in the world, or number 7.
Right.
And so that's where I think they would go if they wanted to do that. I don't think they want to go through the trouble of trying to take people's gold. And incidentally, during the 30s, it's estimated that the federal government only got 25% of the gold that they could have gotten because people wouldn't turn it in, and most of that they got from breaking into the secure boxes in banks. And so I don't think that's going to happen again. And incidentally, during the 30s, they exempted gold mining shares, and that's why Homestake, which was $36 in 1929, went to $630 in 1935-36. So there's no alternative. I don't see confiscation at the individual level. You always have an alternative with gold shares, and I don't know where else to go.
Bob, Ralph, before you ask me the next question, Bob, would you give your email address again so Karen can get it right? She's putting it out there in this form for you.
B-O-B, that's Bob, at INTFORECASTER.com.
Okay, I had it right, Bob. Go ahead, Ralph, ask your next question.
Okay, the next question I have kind of goes to the possibility of the scenario that when the currency collapses and the elites step in to say, okay, we own everything, what is there to stop us from saying, hey, we can't possibly pay this back, so there really is no debt? You guys have a whole bunch of notes that really don't apply to anything. Come on, take your best shot, try and collect it. Do you think there'd be anybody left in the government, military or otherwise, that might stand up to them and say, hey, no, you ripped us off and now you're done?
Well, I am projecting that these people are doing what they're doing and destroying the world economy deliberately in order to bring about world government, and part of that is bring about a one world currency. And it's my suspicion that 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, when all of the currencies have been debauched, that they will all devalue simultaneously, and they probably will use some sort of a gold backing to make it acceptable to people. In fact, the Council on Foreign Relations is talking about a gold-backed digital currency.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so what happens is that people have lost confidence in the currency, even the new one, and they don't want to lose their sovereignty. When you accept a world currency, or you accept the dollar like Panama does as your currency, you lose total control over your finances, sovereignty of your nation. And we're getting that story out there all over the world, and that is not going to happen. But I do expect them to devalue and default simultaneously. And that's another reason why you need to have gold.
Yeah, it's interesting because you kind of come back to, the private shareholders of the Federal Reserve have amassed all this wealth, but it's basically a paper. Basically it's another form of paper. It's our debt instrument to them. How enforceable is that? And that comes back to my question, would there be any force left in, say, this nation? In other words, would our politicians at some point, or the people in command of the military, or however it happened to be, stand up and say, hey, you have ripped us off. You're done. We're establishing a currency. We're keeping our sovereignty, and what are you going to do to come get us?
I guarantee you that will happen. And I talked to somebody in Special Forces about 3 weeks ago who is an officer stationed in the United States. And in their mess hall, they have a banner, and it says expletive, the New World Order.
New World Order, yeah.
So I assure you they know exactly what's going on, and the Pentagon's not going to tell them what to do. There are millions of retired military people who understand what the problem is, and this thing that they are doing, they being the power behind government,